the floor, and then each of you can share and you can put up things that you want to decide on over this meeting. The culture, what I find is, I like to focus more on culture rather than structure, because I feel the structures can be implemented in a day or two and they can be practiced and followed. But the culture takes a longer time to seep in to people, seep into institutions, and that's something we need to work hard at. From the last InDEC in 2004, which was held in Bhubaneswar, Odisha, to now, I think at that time we had to kind of explain what democratic education was and what needed to be done. And it took this much time, in a sense, to flower, and so much work has gone on in different fields across the country. And even earlier also, the idea of participation was there in many of the NGOs and social organizations. Whereas now, I think the focus could be on education programs and children themselves participating. All that has happened, but let's see where we need to focus and look at. Anybody wants to take the mic? And share your thoughts, and then it doesn't have to be, it can be amorphous, it can be unclear, it can be a tentative sharing, and we can, at the end of the meeting, we can decide on what we need to do.
It's so wonderful that we can share ideas and exchange what is it that we're struggling with, and somebody has a solution to that. So I'm very excited about forming a network where we can exchange ideas. Like for example, there was a lady working with construction workers' children, and somewhere else there's somebody doing the same thing, and they could exchange about, because they have their own particular issues, and they're able to sort them out. So I'm really interested in forming networks so that we can meet, exchange ideas, and solve our problems. So that's just one of the ideas.
See, if you look at India, it's so vast and so huge, and we have so much of diversity, and probably the schools close to 1 lakh or something. And if you look at the number of schools that are aware of a different way of teaching or different schooling or what is democracy in education are minuscule. So maybe if few people are aware of something new which is happening or something new which can be tried, it becomes their responsibility to spread the awareness. So if you find some way of really holding such talks or meetings in various places and inviting all the schools so that they get ideas about what are people in the world trying, and does it make, then does it make sense to adapt it. So probably we should try and do that. The another way is you can find the schools which are already into this, we can find a way to network and do some sort of exchange program for teachers or children. It may give a lot of exposure to the whole staff as well as children, and I'm sure it will benefit all of us a lot. So if you can find a way, just to facilitate. I understand that I tried speaking to a few people, everybody said that who will take responsibility of doing it. So if we just build a platform which allows somebody to get in touch with somebody else, and then two people can find if they can collaborate and they can think on the same lines and find a way to work together. So one platform just to allow people to put in touch with somebody else with similar thoughts or interesting thoughts may actually be a good beginning to build higher collaboration and learnings.
Toying with the idea of setting up a democratic learning space. So when I think about InDEC, I would like it to be more of a support group to existing as well as new ventures that are coming up for setting up democratic education. Since I'm a parent, I would also like to see a lot of work happening with parents, because it's a tripartite, this with parents, schooling and children involved. So parents are very significant, play a significant role in children's lives. That's the second thing. Also because our culture is authority-driven culture, so where authority is given a lot of importance. And the other thing I look at this platform is for building skills, to break away from our conditioning of constantly telling children what to do, to coming to a culture where children are considered as intelligent beings who can participate in decision making and have choices. That it's easy to say, but it is a very big transformation that we are looking at, which requires skills, and somewhere if InDEC could bring in that kind of skills development, it would be wonderful. Thank you.
I suppose we are the one democratic school in Nepal, and in India also there are many more democratic schools, and in other countries also there are many more democratic schools. So my concern is here, we can have the video conference between the democratic schools students, once in a month, twice in a month, so it can help them to know about the more democratic system, and they may have the proud, okay, we are a part of the democratic education as well. Just take example of the Nepal. Our students, they think that only we are the democratic schools students, they don't have any idea. And if they have the connection with other schools students as well, then they may feel proud. So it could be better.
Not have any specific participation from the democratic schools. What was exciting about the people out there were that the stage was totally hijacked, or it was actually we invited, but the kids were there all over the place. And for our educational institute where we are trained to faces like these, like you have to be really serious when you're talking to people, you have to show all that kind of academia with that high-headedness. I think it was a very different experience for many of my colleagues also. There was jealousy amongst people because they say that, oh, they have created a forum where even the children can come and speak up. The kind of work which people did was, the children did was amazing. So far so much, when one of the school gave this presentation, the people from the audience got up and they said, we want to know how you prepared for it. They could not believe that the 8th graders or the 7th graders can be so fluent in talking theoretical domains of democratic education, and how they are creating democratic spaces within their own constraints and things like that. So why I'm sharing this with you is, I think it's a very exciting experience for many people who come from traditional schools, no, not traditional, I mean the regular schools. Few of them will be state funded, few of them will be privately set up, but the structure remains same, more or less. There are no kind of variety, which is a variety of experiences that the children are getting. So I think it's very important for us to make to register the voices, that there is something called democratic education. There's something called democratic education which is done successfully. Half the time the people in academia will ask, this will not work. Aise kuch nahi hone wala. When the children will get into this, what will happen to them when they grow up? They will not be able to join the universities, they're not getting any certification or things like that. So these are the kind of issues which I'm sharing with you, which comes from the people who are in majority. So if there are 1 lakh schools, there are 9999 schools which are thinking like that the democratic schools are not going to work and they have no future. This is just somebody's fancy idea. So people are using their fancy ideas to grab children and work with them and going ahead with that. So these kind of stories, when they come to them, when children themselves come and then they speak, I think it's a very it will make a dent in the regular school system. So my idea is very straightforward and very clear, that we want to make a dent in the regular school system, and sooner the better. So I think there has to be a forum, there has to be an organized effort, there has to be intense and frequent movement around people. The presence is very important, and the success stories as well as the limitations. Every system will have certain kind of challenges to meet. So probably if all this becomes a part of discussion on the larger forum in an organized manner, it can really impact the entire education system. That's what my idea is. So yeah, thank you.
First thing, I have 3 points. The first point is, I personally know a few schools who are different but who are not here in the conference. So I think that should be a story that we actually are a big team and we are now represented by very small numbers, because many people do not know about the conference or do not know what is the term democratic. So for us to reach out to people who are already experimenting in education all over the country and bringing them into the forum, I think is one important thing that we should focus on. And second is, if we get inspired and so many people who are there already in the midway or in that direction, if they want to call themselves democratic, what is the guideline? How do we look at what are my steps in converting my school to a democratic school? If those guidelines are there, like how the German Mike presented about 15 problems of school and how 15 solutions makes it democratic. So something like that, if we have a guideline, then even the normal school there will be something to go and talk about, even without the word democratic. Can you want to solve all these problems? And that can actually open up a big amount of entrepreneurial space for teachers to go and approach schools and work with them. And third thing is, what I'm seeing is currently the Delhi government is doing a lot of work on education by working with some Singapore universities, or I don't know, some resource people from Singapore. And I really feel, looking at all other countries, government is playing a big role in supporting the schools. And the model of having the structured school, a democratic school, a Montessori school, all functioning one to another, to create that kind of ecosystem, to ask for the right for education for the children who cannot cope with the regular school. I think a strong initiative to work with the government and the education minister, citing the success of Delhi government, can really change, give us a big boost. Even if we get it in one state, that will be a big boost for every other state. So these are the 3 things I think we should include to make ourselves strive forward.
Quite a bit while we were at this conference were the sheer number of people who came here not as democratic schools or people who practice democracy, but people who were interested in what this was. There were people starting new schools, there were parents hoping to homeschool their children, and I think to a large extent they even outnumbered the actual democratic schools that came here, right? And I think that as we're trying here to create a sort of network or a community of democratic schools in this region, that we should find a way to support those who would like to join us in this community, and to say that, okay, you want to be democratic, I can help you. I mean, these were the people who were going from school to school, especially the ones in India, and they said, okay, I want to be democratic, how do you do it? Can I come to you and ask you for something? And if we can create some place where they can talk to us more, or they can meet people who will tell them, okay, I'll help you create a democratic school, I think it would be very nice, because we do want more democratic schools to come in this region, and I think it's necessary for us to give the necessary support for it to actually happen, rather than sitting and saying, okay, we want democratic schools, we want democratic schools. Thank you.
You said after 2004, it's InDEC you've had it here after 14 years. So with InDEC, maybe we can consider more frequent such gatherings in different parts of India, and spread the word around, because this was such a a beautiful experience, largely with children also participating. I feel most people who run schools, as he said, don't imagine that children can contribute and to our learning. And so the frequency, I'm sure it was a great effort on the part of the organizers. But if one can get people and do it, I'm not saying annually, I'm worried, but maybe at least once in 2 years. She also said that if you can create such spaces, which are by themselves so exciting and beautiful, not just by words of papers or just seminars, but this kind of experience.
Travelled a lot and went to Orissa with this wonderful woman. One of the things that was useful in Australia, when you're talking about support and so on, was for each state, and we don't have many in Australia, and you have a wonderful lot of them, is that one person in that state would take on, or several people would take on the network, like updating emails and setting up those kinds of support meetings that you're interested in having. So that, because in each state there would sometimes be different rules or regulations or different ideas. So if you wanted to, you could then say, well, in Uttar Pradesh, these are the two people that are going to see if they can drive it, or willing to take on the email list or support, or just having small meetings, even in different parts. I know that that's a lot of work for all of us that are busy, and I know that it made a difference in Australia to push the democratic schooling movement on. So that might be an idea if people want to put their hands up. The other thing is, it would be very useful for everybody here to put their names and an email on a list. I'm not quite sure who might take care of that, but I think it's important not to lose the energy that is in the room here and has been over the last few days. So thank you.
System has gone on to do different things in their life. I think hearing from them, or even them participating in these meetings, would help everyone, and especially parents who are looking into different models of learning for their child, and for them to, I think it will help them reduce their anxieties to a certain extent. So I think that would be nice.
What she said, probably I would volunteer to, take the help or support from Gujarat and do what is required to put there so that we can spread across India. If anybody wants to put forward their name, it would be nice really, because we're here today.
Our first instinct as someone who thinks different is to shun them, like reject them. So my suggestion or my request would be that you send people, someone there, and maybe, you don't know, maybe talking to the people there, you can maybe change a few minds. For example, there's one, do you know DL, that is digital learning? There's an organization called eLets. They organize these conferences across the country. I have attended 2 conferences. One is in Bangalore. One was in Bangalore, that was about a year back. One was in Delhi, that I attended a few months back. And today I have at least 6 people from 6 different schools across the country who call me up, text me, email me any time of the day, and asking for suggestions on how to take things forward, how to do things differently. So there's a chance that it's just that people don't know better.
The inclusiveness, right? So being again part of unschooling or homeschooling and all that. So what I've come across and see is like many parents sometimes might be stuck in case of practicality in either relocating or moving closer to the democratic schools. So what I am looking at or thinking, even being in that stage, is to put up some kind of startup kit or something like resource kit, right? So where all this information is available, and even if they are trying to practice at home, what is that kind of bridge resources which could be useful for homeschoolers or unschoolers who are in that transition of coming from a traditional background to the democratic education. So that's something which I would like to take up. So I just thought, like, if I can connect with anyone who is interested. So my name is Vinay Rajagopal, by the way. So this I am willing to do, and I really want that to be a resource available for them, because that will also come as a support system, right, in case they are in the bridge and then when they're moving into any of the democratic environment, it becomes easier for them.
Mine is a government school, it's a regular school, and first time I'm experiencing this democratic concept of schooling. Though we are doing, we do the same things but in different ways. So we don't call it democratic school, it's a regular school, and there are a lot of things we can include in doing the daily work of the school. Yeah, and as far as the taking the responsibility, I'm not in position of taking responsibility right now because I'm very new to this. Though we are doing, we don't call it a regular school, we don't call it democratic school, we call it regular, but it's democratic, one way or other it is democratic.
Was because we all come from regular, normal, conventional schools. So it was, what is it really what we people here, I mean for us initially it was we and people here are calling democratic education. And when we went through some of the seminars and the conversations we were listening, so the first stage for us was it people who are running from examination system and forming some kind of schools which do not emphasize on examination, that is what democratic school is about. You know, that's the sense we got. Though of course we've been reading what is democracy and all those things, but from the conversations that were going on around here, that's a sense as a group we were struggling. So is it only about examination or what is it about? The other thing that happened was, I'm myself not a principal, but I'm accompanying 4 principals, and they said that whatever the discussions are happening here, the national curriculum framework actually suggests all these things. That this is the way we should teach. This is the way teachers should be given autonomy. So what is it people are talking about? The government has already made a provision in the national curriculum framework, and it is our, if I can use the word responsibility or non-responsibility, that we are not able to implement it that way. So if we are not able to do it, how are we saying the government is not supporting democratic education? And the third learning that we had while here, we as in all the principals, because we have a circle every night, so I'm just speaking their voice, and it is their opinions. So they feel that whatever discussions happened here, whether it is in terms of giving autonomy to the teacher, giving autonomy to the students, it is already prescribed that is the way education should happen, and it is possible, though we've not been doing. So when we go back from here, we'll try to find ways to bring it in practice. The fourth question which I just want to raise here, and
what I feel, how will all schools, make democratic education the norm, is when they come here. You see, we are people, we are a fraternity. We behave, we believe in the same principles and we practice it. But what about people who do not know about, for a regular school? Only when they come to a platform like this and see what other people are doing, what democratic schools are doing, only then we can expedite the transformation. It is not possible to do it if only we keep talking, among ourselves. Hum to kar hi rahe hain bhai, like we are doing it already, we are practicing, we are only enhancing it further. But how do we bring new people to think democratically? How do we bring the conventional to meet the unconventional? Unless they see what this practice looks like, for them it will always remain a dream. It will remain something to, or it may not even be anywhere, on their radar. So what I recommend is, maybe in future, if we could also invite, regular schools to, conferences like this,
I know there are a couple of regular schools here. Yeah, there are a couple. But I think there must be a bigger representation of regular schools, and there must be sharing of democratic education with them, and then we can hope for a bigger, bigger movement. Otherwise, I think we are just doing the same thing in the, you know what I mean. Yeah, thanks.
Hello everyone, I'm Aditi, and my biggest takeaway from this conference was that I got to learn about how different people make different meanings of the word democracy, and for me the most insightful part of attending different presentations was from different schools was that everybody considered a different feature of democracy as essential to their functioning, right? So from my previous experiences with schools, what I understand is that even a regular government school, or what we call a regular school, might consider their functioning to be democratic because they have something like a student council or because they have student elections. But we need to ask, I think all of us as people who attend this conference need to reflect on what we consider a democracy and what we consider to be those essential features of democracy. And it's in our discussions, I think, that the values and principles that we hold will really start to come out. And I think democracy is a word that can be appropriated very easily. So we really need to think about the structures that exist within schools and whether that would be a democratic structure. And I mean, one of the best things that I got to do in this conference was talk to children. I feel like they're the most underrepresented community in discussions on education, as we can see even here today. I mean, so much for democratic education. But yes, I think for me that was a very useful part, and how students can contribute to their own education. So I think this forum would be a very useful place to sort of come back every year and critically reflect on what we consider democracy and how our definition of democracy is also evolving.
On impact, and you can switch it on again and try to understand again. So you made so much documentations, and will there something happen about that to use it as a resource for spreading ideas? This was all.
When I was being told to come here, I had no idea of what I'd be doing and what I'd be learning. And I always had in my mind about homeschooling, because it's not about regular school or conventional school or democratic, whatever. Ultimately, you want to give the best to your child. So there's not much information on the internet or videos where we could see what is happening with these schools. So as she said, these videos are something which gives kind of insight as what it is exactly. Because there was one session with the Taiwan's group, the Holistic Healing. The initial 15 minutes, they showed the video about what they're doing, and that really had an impact. I mean, all of us thought what is happening and how they're doing. More than just telling, to show them what exactly it is. I think picture speaks more than words. So that information, if someone could take up and put one or two videos on YouTube and spread across, and it is like available for everyone. Because another organization have a video in their own website. So how do we reach to their website? So we don't know. So if there's some democratic or some different kind of education, whatever you want to term, but have a video where it goes beyond websites or whatever, just where everyone can access. That will be really helpful for a person who's not really aware of such kind of things happening inside the country and outside the country, I feel.
Put up in one place the presentations, whichever videos are available openly, freely. If it could be made available through the organizers, whoever could not attend, or for us to create awareness, it will be very useful to share all resources in one place. Just the links to the resources will be great. Thank you.
The discussion that's going on, but I think we have a very short amount of time here. I mean, it's already 11. And I think it's important that we perhaps go back to all the sort of things that we've put up and maybe come to arrive at some conclusion, not the one all end all, but an early thing. So we can preserve the energy and all the things that we've got and be able to have these again at a later stage, because I think we need to start thinking about what we want to do in InDEC rather than talk about the larger issues that I think we all have.
If all of us could write down, our learning and reflection as an article, and we could put it together as a little booklet, probably each one comes up with I would love to write an article myself, on this subject and post it wherever, if there's a platform, I would love to post it. I've been writing, on several things, including choices, that parents talk of, like, do children have a choice at all, in regular schooling. So if we could all put our heads together and each one writes an article, probably it would be an excellent reflective compilation, right? And all of us could benefit from it and use it, for further. So some of you can write about strategies that you've learned, some of them can write about the philosophical, some of you can write about whatever your personal takeaways are, and I think that would be a good thing to circulate. I'm willing to do the editing. Yeah, I'm willing to do the, I can take articles, and so I'm offering.
Minister for National Level Children Parliament. Basically, I want to share one thing from my experience. I studied in government school past 12 years. In India, we have 4 education qualities. First one is government level education, second matriculation, third is CBSE, and fourth one is ICSE. So if I have more money, I can study in international syllabus in the ICSE section. If I not much more that, just the amount of that, from that I can study in the CBSE school. From below that, I can study in matriculation. After that, I don't have money to study. So the government offering me is the government's education. So what problem I faced is, in government school, I cannot get proper education. I cannot get proper toilet facilities in school. I could not offer, I could not say my point in schools, and they do not consider my point as a point. If I say suggestion with teacher, I administer, just say, what are they using to say is, you get lost from here. We know what we have to do. We are government servants. So that I cannot see a democracy. So what I have done is, so you see, I have told you that I am a Children Parliament Prime Minister. So I federated a Children Parliament in school, and I included the person from ICSE background and CBSE background and matriculation background also, and the person with disability and the LGBT community, and like there is so much of inclusion. So we are interacting. So while we are interacting, just I shared my view. This is my major problem that I am facing. So what I get the resolution is, the person from ICSE background, he said that I can teach you ICSE syllabus, I can teach you, and the matriculation also said the same, and the CBSE also said the same. So after that, after the Children Parliament session, I got more knowledge. From that school, I don't want to continue in that school, so I transferred to another school. There, they need 95% education attendance percentage, or else they'll send out. So mine is just 44, but my academic score is 93.7%. So after that, after passing out, I went to school. I simply said that you actually a guy who are having 100% just got 89% in his board examination. They asked me that how can you get this much of score. I simply said that you have taught it in classroom, in text, I saw in practical. So in the humanity field, I went to court, and I came to know that what is article, what is preamble, or what is section 377, what is section, what is amendments, and I know who is the Prime Minister, and I know what is the role of Prime Minister, fundamental rights, duties, I know all. I saw it practical, and I got it from different sections of education. I know what is in the CBSE and ICSE also. So I taught it to my friends also, who are in my class, who are in my village. So they also got more than 90%, but they don't have that much of attendance percentage. So what they are doing in school is they are just pulling children to get mark only. They don't consider that if I have singing, if I have to want to become a singer, so I need to hold a mic and I need to practice sing a song. But they won't allow me to take a mic and sing a song. You can understand, right? Yeah. So if I want to become a gymnastic master of gymnastics, they won't allow me to take that as my vision. So what they are doing is, first you complete your education. If you have good percentage in your 12th or 10th, then only you can get a good seat in a good college, and then only you can succeed in life. Just they are doing that. So what my plan is, so I'm going to implement the children parliament in all over the India. So as what I can, I need to do it for all the children who are in India. So last time I went Delhi, so there I spoke about this. What they suggested is, so we need children parliament. Actually, maybe it's thousands of school correspondents and principals were there, and I spoke in stage, and I came to know that they don't know what is children parliament and what we are doing in children parliament. So here we are the leaders. So we can share our views in the schools, colleges, and the village, and the government officials, and whatever we need. Whom we want to meet, we can go directly and we can speak with them. So this concept impressed them, and they are calling us, so please do children parliament in my schools also and my neighbors also. So if you want to do that, I can come to your school and I can come to your country also. So hope you that children parliament will help to promote the democratic education and also the sociocracy, and you can do whatever, the children can do whatever they want.
I run something called Symphony of Values. So I basically admire this gathering, and I'm so glad to be part of this.
On the next InDEC, if somebody could volunteer for that, and yeah, we can take it ahead. Because what emerged from the last part of discussion, the first part of discussion was that we have to meet regularly. And I think everybody is coming together for the first time at this moment. So the idea would also evolve gradually. But for idea to evolve, for networks to emerge, I think it's important that we have some kind of frequency which is determined, so that everybody knows that this part of the year I'll have to be available for an event which is going to be for whatever, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 3 days, whatever we plan it here to be. So it's important for all of us to plan our annual calendars also. So if we have some kind of thing right now, we can be ready. We can be better prepared for all the things.
You put your hands up and say, I am going to, at this moment, represent Tamil Nadu, and I will draw the groups in, and you might want to set up your own meeting for Tamil Nadu. But there has to be people with emails and so on for you to go, because otherwise all of this energy dissipates and you've got no one to say, who do I talk to in Tamil Nadu? Who do I talk to in Kerala? That's really important. And the other idea that Ian has, Ian, I'm taking your idea here, was that when maybe you would like to split into groups that come from different areas of the country to work out who is going to be the representative, and then that could be brought back and added to the meeting. That's just another idea. To me, you've got a lot of energy in this room. Don't let it walk out the door and fall into a black hole, you know. If you've got to stick your hand up, stick your hand up, and let's get your name down. And it doesn't mean you're going to do it forever, because life changes and you might want to hand it on. But if you feel that you've got the energy to make the start, do it.
Whatever the Tamil Nadu decides. Since we attended the conference, we've been there right from the beginning to the end. So even if we are from other states, if we could contribute in organizing in whatever way, then think that would be helpful. If you can let us know, even if you are from Delhi or whatever. We can be a part of the whole thing, you know.
She said, it not necessarily should mean that it is people from Tamil Nadu in the organizing committee. Anybody who has interest in organizing the next InDEC can be part of the Tamil Nadu team. Yeah, I think that makes more sense.
The Tamil Nadu team, and so because like this year, very few came to know, like in our network in Pune, very few came to know about it. So if we have a representative from each state, then the awareness about InDEC can happen better.
Great. So, yeah, name and email ID. Because if you have the name, you can't email us.
There's the Learning Societies and conference coming up in January 15th to 20th in Orissa in India. It is a little much on a bigger picture, not just education, alternative living, green living, lifestyles, minimalism, and working towards a better future, more harmonious, better future. And it's usually a crowd of 1,000 plus from all over the world. So the initiative is from Shikshantar, who are also working with companies who would like to, would be willing to take children who run school, homeschool from alternative schools, democratic schools, even without any certification, based on their skill. So they're working with a lot of countries and companies and things, so that they're open to taking in children from our kind of schools. And also they have a Swaraj University where they have a mentorship and guidance for children who want to follow their interests, not necessarily with or without certification.
Yeah, thank you. So the app people would need to have a click to announcements or the upcoming events or something like that, you know, where we can put all these things up and they get attached to it. So yeah, a very big thank you to all of us. We have been amazing together. I think, sorry? Yeah, everybody together, I think. And I think we need a group hug to finish, to kind of looking forward to something like that. So can we all just come inside and go for a group hug?